Here we
Let's
go.
see. Okay.
We got Mr. Silver coming to the podium with the 17th pick here for the Los Angeles Lakers. They are selecting Jalen Hood-Schifino out of Indiana. I really like this.
Great pick. Great pick. Really interesting fit next to Austin Reeves long-term in their backcourt. Both guys that are like 6'5", dribble, pass, shoot, can defend. These are guys that make sense next to LeBron. The key with Hood-Schifino is the 3-point shot long-term. I am a believer in the 3-point shot. Are you, Adam?
I am, and I am so much so a believer in the 3-point shot that I had him 12th on my big board.
Okay, so yeah, you're even higher than I am. I think I had him 14 or 15. The thing that he does really well that I think is important when trying to like project his shooting ability is he has the ability to realign himself in midair, right? The jumper looks great from mid-range, but he can go up wrong-footed and maintain that center of, gravity and that control and that balance while also twisting in the air to be able to get himself realigned to the rim. I tend to believe that those guys who can do all of those things in that manner in a cohesive way tend to be able to translate as shooters long term, as long as they have touch on some level. And I think Hood-Schifino like very clearly has touch.
Yeah, I think the optimal version of Jalen Hood-Schifino is a big point guard who plays a lot in the pick and roll. Obviously, this early iteration of him in his career is not going to have that role while he shares the floor with LeBron and Anthony Davis. But he is a very smart decision maker with the ball in his hands. Does a fantastic job of just taking what the defense gives him and making the right play. I don't think that there are enough ways to really show how much as a coach I appreciate that in a player. If teams send 2 to him in the ball, he'll just hit the pocket pass to the roll man every time. If he's got room in the mid-range, he's great at taking the mid-range pull up there. He'll snake ball screens. He'll use his hostage dribble and his big frame to keep defenders on his back. He's armed with all of these tricks to become an excellent pick and roll creator over the long term. I also love the on-ball defense from him. We talked about guys like Anthony Black, who are big guards who can defend the one. I think that's what Jalen Hood-Schifino does as well. Great at avoiding contact on screens, uses his length well. Not an incredibly bursty athlete, struggles at actually finishing at the rim when he's not naked there. But if you buy the shot, you've got to buy the feel, the defense, all of these other things, being able to turn him into, at the very least, a great connective point guard.
Yep, I think that's right. I'm a fan of his game. How do you think he's able to contribute at all this year to like a team that ostensibly like wants to win the title?
I think so. I think he's smart and unselfish enough to be able to do so. He's also not rattled by the big moment. If you take a look at the games that he played against Purdue this year, Indiana's in-state rival, some really big wins against a team that was, I think, number 1 in the country at the time, went into Mackey Arena, and Hood-Schifino was poised the entire time. That was one of, I know I mentioned Derek Lively against Oral Roberts. I think the Hood-Schifino game against Purdue is what cemented him as a lottery pick for me. Just a guy who's got that juice to him where he's not going to be afraid of the moment and is going to continue to rise to the occasion whenever he sees it.
Yeah, no, I think that game against Purdue proved another thing. He's a drop coverage killer. Killer. Zach Edey is actually like a pretty good drop coverage defender now, to be honest. Like he takes up a ton of space in the college game. His positioning is good. He has a 7'10" wingspan. And the problem is that Hood-Schifino is just a really tough problem to solve in the mid-range area. I think that his ability to be able to get to his spots, keep guys on his hip, be able to realign himself in midair, as I said earlier, I think it's big. You mentioned the decision-making. The turnovers were a concern. Like the turnovers were definitely a worry this year, but they were freshman turnovers, I felt like, more than anything else. He looks like a gamer. I really like the defense as well. Like, I think he did a good job guarding on the ball defensively at the point of attack, playing tough, physical, aggressive. It's always been a part of his game. It just always has been. So I buy him.
Man, Cam Whitmore looks sad as hell, man. They just zoomed in on him on ESPN. It's not quite Nerlens Noel level frustration or shock, but it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly surprised that he's still there based off of what I've been told.
Miami at 18 here. We still got a minute or so.
Okay, let's take a couple more questions while we're doing this. Let's see. Would Lively be a better fit than Wallace for Oklahoma City? I kind of mentioned that whenever Oklahoma City picked. I think that Lively doesn't really fit what they do on offense. They like dribble pass shoot guys at the center position. Think somebody like Chet Holmgren. Let's see here. Do you think Jordan Hawkins can develop enough as a passer to play point guard alongside Brandon Ingram and Zion as a tertiary playmaker? No, but like if you're playing him next to a lineup of like him and Dyson Daniels, like I think Dyson Daniels can be your tertiary playmaker in that regard. And you play Dyson, Jordan, Ingram, Zion, and Trey Murphy, or you play Zion at the 4 with one of those guys. It's a really fun roster. The ideal roster for me is, I think he's more of a bench player for them than a starter, if I'm being honest, but that's fine. Like to me, the guy he reminds me most of is someone like Isaiah Joe, who has become like a really valuable player in Oklahoma City, which is kind of why I didn't always buy like the Oklahoma City connection that people were trying to make with Hawkins. So yeah, interesting situation. Let's see here. Do you have a best dressed player at the draft that you've seen?
Grady Dick, man.
For me, it's Scoot. Scoot's suit is unbelievable. I think he said his sister designed it. Just the level of detailing, I think, on that jacket is incredible.
The Thompson twins looked very, very neat as well. I will say that.